So for me, March of 2012 was a vacation to remember in more ways than I could have imagined. We were in Kauai, Hawaii with my mom, dad, Trisha, my kids, my brother's family, my sister's family, 14 of us in total. We enjoyed the usual on our vacation, the beach, snorkeling, a luau, dinners filled with good food and laughs. My mom and dad even renewed their wedding vows. It was perfect with many memories. Then it was time for the vacation to end, just not the way we thought. On March 31st, 2012, our last day before going home, we were at Poipu Beach, enjoying one last time in the surf before we went home. I was in the ocean with my dad, Ron Woods, enjoying the Hawaiian surf, doing what we and other beachgoers have done many of times, body surfing, jumping in the waves, etc. Then one wave hit. Not any wave out of the normal, but oh, how this changed our lives. As I came up from the wave, I looked around and my dad was not there. I walked to shore and my sister said, "Where is Dad?" frantically. That is where God's plan went into action. Starting with a young, strong local teen swimmer pulling my dad's lifeless body onshore. Then on the beach, there were also off-duty nurses and doctors on hand to begin life-saving measures. I remember them working feverishly on my dad as I was on my knees crying out to my dad to please not die. Then first responders arrived and thankfully they were able to get his pulse back. Along with my mom, he was rushed to the local hospital on the island of Kauai. After meeting my mom at the hospital, initial testing had shown Dad had suffered a spinal cord injury in the neck area. His injury was so severe and his condition so critical, he had to be transported by air ambulance to Honolulu to Queens Memorial Hospital. By the way, God even provided childcare for us in the form of Miss Chris, a local resident who recognized our situation and stayed with the kid for hours while at the Kauai hospital. Sparing the details, my dad spent 2 weeks in the ICU at Queens. The effect of that one wave were really exemplified at Honolulu. We discovered his spinal cord injury was so high, if he recovered, he would probably live the rest of his life as a quadriplegic, never able to walk or use his arms again. Also, it was questionable if he would even be able to breathe again without the help of a ventilator. He had 2 code blues at Queens in his 2-week stint there. He even spent days on a rotating bed to rid his lungs of seawater. But there were bright moments, the brightest when he opened his eyes and gained consciousness, and slowly he became stable enough to be able to take a Learjet back to Denver with a doctor and 2 nurses on board. We joked with my dad later, "This isn't the way to take a private Learjet back home from Hawaii, Dad." Looking back, I believe only God gave Dad strength to persevere. Back in Denver, Dad went straight to the Craig Hospital, a hospital that is world-renowned and filled with doctors and nurses who perform miracles, transforming spinal cord injury and traumatic brain injury patients physically and mentally to enjoy life again. That was what they provided my dad. For 6 months, they prepared Dad for his new life. They taught him to drive his electric wheelchair with sips and puffs from a straw. They worked with him to learn to breathe on his own, even though his diaphragm was partially paralyzed. Patiently, they taught my dad to deal with the depression and the mental anguish of never being able to do simple tasks like walking again or feeding himself. They even taught us, his family, how to advocate for him and how to care for him. Plus, they fully evaluated my parents' home to accommodate his disability. It goes without saying that the accommodations were costly, even for my parents that had led a successful life. Then God's love, I believe, shone through. First, the Parker UMC Men's Group built a fantastic ramp to my parents' house in the front and backyards. Then, through my brother's work at Omni Interlochen Golf Club, we hosted the first annual Ron Don Ho Golf Classic tournament to raise money for the costly improvements needed. I will never forget the standing ovation he got entering the tent during the post-reception. All of this culminated with my dad coming home in October 2012, over 6 months from the one wave. At home, Dad adjusted to his new life, working with incredible in-home nurses, learning how to control his iPad with a mouse stick, and so much more. My dad even came to have no regrets and even said he wouldn't change a thing and wanted to use his story to help others. Helping others came true when he saw a news story on TV one morning about a boy named Gavin who was paralyzed in a car accident. My dad said, I want to help that boy and his family with their costly expenses at the second annual Ron Donho Golf Classic in 2013. The tournament was a fabulous success with my dad and Gavin as the guests of honor. On January 2014, almost 2 years following that one wave, due to dad's compromised breathing condition, my dad passed away at the age of 61. While we miss him dearly, my family has continued to try and keep my dad's vision to helping others. We have continued hosting the Ron Donho Golf Classic for 8 years straight, raising over $100,000 with proceeds going to Craig Hospital. Last year, 2020, was the first year we had to cancel the tournament due to COVID. But our goal is to continue this mission as my dad, Ron Woods, wouldn't want it any other way.